Good morning, everyone. I'm CBS19 Chief Meteorologist Brett Anthony. On this weather impact alert day, we have severe thunderstorms rolling through parts of East Texas. Those will be followed by a surge of cold air that will move in and drop our temperatures tonight below freezing. So pretty active afternoon. We do have a severe thunderstorm warning currently in effect for Gregg and Harrison, Panola, and Rusk County. That goes until 12:15. We also have a severe thunderstorm warning for Columbia, Lafayette, Miller, and Nevada counties over in southwest Arkansas. So we do have the line of thunderstorms marching through at this time, and it's moving to the southeast rather rapidly. I am joined by Savannah Hale, who is with us here in the CBS19 Weather Center. And Savannah, these storms erupting pretty quickly, and we went from really just what we call general thunderstorms to severe thunderstorms, and it took only a matter of minutes.
Yeah, so we definitely had that warm air earlier this morning. I know we talked about this earlier, but it was 70 degrees in some places across East Texas this morning. So as this line moved through, it's really given it the strength to kind of bubble up pretty quickly. You can see we've got some lightning along this line, and as it continues to move, it's strengthened up a little bit, and that's kind of the reason why the National Weather Service has put these severe thunderstorm warnings on this line. Now, if you notice these black lines in here, that's something that they call a tornado possible tag. So we're watching these lines as they continue to move towards the east at about 35 to 40 miles per hour. So Brett's going to put a track on this, and we're going to walk through some of our areas. These are some of our times as this continues to move east. So not a whole lot of East Texas cities left in this line. We are moving this into Louisiana. Wascom about 11:53, right at Carthage right after noon. So you got just over 30 minutes. Benton at about 12:19. Shreveport, if you're traveling or know anybody traveling towards Shreveport, it's going to get there just after 12:30. Bossier City at about 12:37 and about 12:50 Red Shoot. So this is continuing to move once again towards the east, and you can see that this is also developing down towards deeper parts of East Texas. Those are our counties that are also under the tornado watch. So we've got a few counties that are under this tornado watch until 6 p.m. tonight, and you can see this is that tail end of this storm. Not warned by any severe thunderstorm warnings just yet, but this is an area that we're going to continue to watch throughout the next couple of hours. So there are some cells that already have some lightning in there as well. And I'm sure we'll get some gusty winds out of this later as this continues to move through. We've seen some stronger winds as this moved through as well. And I think we actually had some reports of power going out in some places like Jacksonville. I know that Tyler had a few flickers of power as well. You can see that once again, lightning within this cell means that possibly strengthening up as this continues to move. And with the warm air that's behind it, of course, as this moves towards the east, that gives it a little bit of strength. We also had a lot of moisture that moved through over the past couple of days. So you can see along this line here, those brighter greens, it's not terribly bright, but in here right around Grand Bluff that moved through Tatum and towards Carthage, those brighter greens that are moving toward our Shreveport radar, that shows that there are some gustier winds in there. I don't know, Brett, if we could try to get a sample off of this. It might be too small of those colors in there, but we could see, so you could see about 40 mile per hour velocity, gate to gate shear not too strong, but we are seeing once again maybe some gustier winds as this line continues to move through, and that's something that we've been knowing was going to come out of this. The National Weather Service has also talked about how there's been some gusty winds there again, maybe 38 to 40 miles per hour. So as this continues to move, we could also see it strengthen. That one a little bit higher, 43. So what's going on here is as this continues to move, strengthening up, some of our Titan indicators also showing maybe some updrafts as well, could produce some smaller hail and again, gusty winds. So maybe again, probability of hail about 80%. Wind impact is relatively high though. So again, as it continues to move, maybe strengthening some stronger wind gusts out of that. So yes, it looks like this is moving pretty quickly throughout our area. and we're seeing some impacts out of that. As it continues to develop down south, that's where we could also see that isn't getting some impacts right now. So if you're in Lufkin, if you're in Nacogdoches, if you're towards Sabine County, that area, right now maybe not having as much action, but it is definitely coming your way. That's one of our areas that was under that level 2 risk of severe weather for this afternoon. So St. Augustine, Hemp Hill, Zavala, Lufkin, Nacogdoches may be getting some scattered showers, but you can see that we've got some of that strengthening line trying to develop that is going to move through the area. Once again, Titan indicator showing maybe some updrafts. Highlighted in this dark red here, this is our tornado watch. And yellow here, you can see that tornado watch again. These are areas that are highlighted for that tornado watch, and it does go until 6 p.m. So it is where kind of that line is developing and, of course, moving east. So this is just something we want you to, of course, be cautious about as we go throughout the afternoon today, because we are going to continue to watch this as things develop. Here we've got maybe some strengthening as well. Again, our Titan indicator showing maybe some tighter rotation. Here we go. Let's look at this. Wind impact picking up just a little bit. Doesn't look like there's much of a tornado impact at all, but still maybe just something to watch with that.
Oh, they went ahead with did they go with the tornado warning on that? Did I just see that? No, I don't, right? No.
I didn't see anything that
Yeah,
said
I thought
that.
I saw a little red box, but then
Oh,
it
I
just
think that was
disappeared.
the precipitation rate that you had accidentally highlighted. Yeah, so no tornado warning just yet on that, I would say, unless, Brett, you do see something that pops up. Definitely let us know.
Sure thing. Yeah.
But yeah, that Titan indicator you just saw, maybe not too much, if at all, a tornado impact, but the wind impact was pretty high. You can see there's some lightning in that area, though, so probably strengthening a little bit. And again, just that's that area we were watching for those stronger winds. And you can barely see here maybe a little bit of that red that maybe is what they're watching for a little bit of rotation. But all in all, it doesn't look very bright, and it's too broad right now. Brett's circling that area that we're talking about, that little bit of red versus this green, but it's a little bit broader, and those colors aren't too bright. What we usually look for is these pinks and yellows against these blues and bright greens. So not too much. We need it a little bit tighter than about 6 miles in order for it to really be something of concern that we really wanted to watch. Titan indicators just give us a little bit of insight and maybe some probability of what we're looking at, but doesn't actually completely tell us what we're seeing. So even though this looks a little bit intimidating, not very much of concern going on right here, but something, of course, that we're going to continue to watch, because we do have that severe thunderstorm warning with that tornado possible tag on it. Brett, do you see anything in there that you wanted to talk about specifically?
No, that was just like you said, the broad rotation that we had across that storm. Let me put a little track on this for us. We decided it's moving about 35 to 40 miles an hour, kind of from the southwest to the northeast as the front continues to crash southwestward here. So, and you pointed out earlier, it's going to be moving into Louisiana pretty fast. So, I really think our threat here in deep East Texas may last until about 2:30, and then that threat is going to be shifting away into Louisiana as that storm moves faster in that direction. Carthage, you're going to see this storm arrive here in about 20 minutes. Greenwood shortly thereafter, about 12:13, and then we're into Shreveport and the Louisiana side by 12:30. Delray about 11:50, so in about 8 minutes. So again, as fast as these storms are moving, it doesn't take a whole lot more to produce a damaging wind gust, let's say in excess of 60 miles an hour. Other than that, we're still looking at, there are a couple of areas. I want to take a look outside here. We'll look outside from our Tyler camera looking to the south. You can see even a little bit of sunshine coming in behind the main line. And you can see the development of the cloud cover to the middle part of the screen. So we do have that front just sort of lifting the air here. And take a look at the temperatures across the area. We're down to 56 in Tyler, 51 at Mineola, 47 at Terrell, but still in the low 70s at Carthage Center, Nacogdoches, and Lufkin. So it's that area where we have the warmer temperatures here, where there's most of the energy still available for any type of severe weather to develop. It's likely going to be in that area there. And future Skycast, I'll put this back into motion. You'll see 1:30, the storms are in deep East Texas. By 2:30, they are gone. So that is certainly good news, Savannah. I think the fact that we're going to see these storms relatively quickly move on out of here.
Yeah, and the temperatures behind it going to get really cold. I know we've been talking about that all week long, is what we're watching for the after this front. So we're seeing this line of storms move through, but then afterwards is when we get that cold air. So we got a lot going on. Again, we've got our severe thunderstorm warnings with those tornado possible tags that we're continuing to keep our eye on. But then right after it, as this front moves through, colder air starting to rush in. And like Brett mentioned, that areas where the cold front hasn't yet moved through are where there's the most energy. So some of these storms could still bubble up and produce an isolated tornado, maybe gusty winds, some small hail as well. So let's go ahead and look at this severe thunderstorm warning again, kind of that hasn't moved just out of Texas just yet. You can see if you've got anybody traveling on I-20 towards Shreveport or towards Longview, probably going to drive through this. Thankfully, not very thick. It's a very thin line of storms, but you can see that we've got some lightning in there. It's developed a little bit, and it's probably some heavier downpours as well. So if they are traveling, visibility could go a little bit lower while they head through that line of storms. So these severe thunderstorm warnings, they do go until 12:15. So we've got just another 30 minutes on these, and I bet that they will probably get continued maybe as they move further to the east. So some areas in deeper parts of East Texas, and as this line down here continues to develop, could also get some new severe thunderstorm warnings on those. But right now, Gregg, Harrison, Panola, and Rusk County for this severe thunderstorm warning with that tornado possible tag. A few bolts of lightning. I don't think we've had any reports of hail maybe in this cell. So that's good news. But again, as it continues to strengthen and move towards the east, if you're in a city that borders Louisiana or close to, I wouldn't doubt maybe picking up some, especially if you're maybe in deeper East Texas later. Marshall, just on the back edge of this storm, quite a few bolts of lightning, but this is the cell that I was just talking about. There's our newest scan as it comes through, so it's continued to move just a little bit. Doesn't have much longer before it makes its way into Louisiana. Tatum, you're on the back edge of this, Longview as well, so this does mean that your temperatures pretty soon are going to start dropping. Gusty winds. I think, Brett, we are under a wind advisory today.
Yeah, we are. We have a wind advisory, then we have a cold weather advisory tonight. And the cold weather advisory, that replaces what we used to think of as a hard freeze warning or a frostbite advisory or things of that nature. So it's all been sort of consolidated into a cold weather advisory. So it simply means that it's time to protect our plants, our people, our pipes for sure in the next couple of days, because we're going to have some cold overnight temperatures. And of course, pets, make sure that they are inside and they have a nice warm place to stay. Savannah, I'm going to toss it back over to you and look at the storm relative velocity, if we can pick out anything that you see there on the graphics here.
Yeah, let's take a look at this. So we've got just some areas where you can see, again, down here, that's where our brightest greens are. That sharp edge is probably where we're seeing some gusty winds along that green. I don't know that they would be terribly strong. This is the area that maybe we're getting our gustiest. I'd say we looked at that maybe up to 40 miles per hour earlier. But again, what we're looking here for of concern would be those bright greens and those bright reds really close together. So we're not really seeing anything like that. Again, it's very broad, not much rotation, but we're seeing just stronger winds as this front moves through. So if you're in DeBary or Carthage, Dotson, Wascom, any of these areas that are right along this edge of this front, you're probably going to see your winds picking up pretty soon as the storm moves through. Brett, could we maybe put another track on this again for people that are maybe just joining so they could see as this front moves through?
Absolutely.
Awesome. That way, if these winds do start to pick up, you might have just a few more minutes before this gets to you, but just know that there could be some gusty winds in this. It's moving about 35 to 40 miles per hour. So if you're in Wascom, just to you at about 11:55. Carthage, you've got a few more minutes, 12:07. Greenwood at about 12:11. Con at about 12:27. So as this continues to move to you, just make sure that you know that this is headed your way. Gusty winds is definitely a possibility. If you have anyone driving towards Shreveport, possibly about 12:27, so just before 12:30. Bossier City at about 12:30, Red Chute at about 12:43, and Eastwood just before 12:50. So this is continuing to move. Again, it's been moving pretty quickly throughout the morning, and so it is going to move into Louisiana pretty soon, within just the next couple of hours. And then deeper East Texas is who we'll continue to watch, as they still have time to get that tail end developed and moving through. That's also where we have the most energy later this afternoon, because as the atmosphere heats up, of course, as this front has not moved through, there's still time for that cold air to crash into this warm air, and that's what creates a little bit of these cells that are bubbling up. So Nacogdoches close to a cell right now that's gotten a little bit stronger, some lightning in there. Groveton as well, a cell that's strengthening up, and you can see we don't have any Titan indicators on this, but this is part of that line that's starting to move towards Louisiana. So about 35 again to 40 miles per hour. If you're in Bonita Junction, it's going to get to you just before noon. Nacogdoches just about 12:05. Neches at about 11:55. So you've still got a few more minutes. But again, this is moving towards the east as this develops. So right now, this is our area that's under that tornado watch. No tornado warnings, no even severe thunderstorm warnings in this area. Lovekin getting this storm about 12:30, Dival at about 12:45. Center, this will be to you just within the next hour or so, 12:53. Shelbyville just after 1. So this area, Deep East Texas, is not yet through, as we've been talking about that northern part of the storm moving into Louisiana. Deep East Texas still has it for a little bit longer, but Brett, as you were talking about, it is planned to move probably into Louisiana and out of our area by about 2.
Yeah, so just an update here from the National Weather Service. So I think we've peeled away a couple of counties on the severe thunderstorm watch, and I'll go back to that in just a second. But it has been still in effect till 12:15, but it's now Harrison, Panola, Rusk, and Shelby County. So I think we had some of Gregg County in that. That has been dropped out of the watch or the warning area. Marion County was also removed from the warning area. Let me go back and put those warnings back on here. I did take them off just so we could see what we were looking at. And you will notice that we have, let me take off the tornado watch because everybody's in the tornado watch. But there it is. So that's the line right now that has the most concern, from just east of Marshall to just west of Carthage, right around DeBary also at this time, just approaching DeBary, has passed through Tatum, as we mentioned, and then Dotson would be next in line. Laneville already has seen that thin line of thunderstorms come through. It doesn't last very long, as Savannah pointed out. I mean, it's so narrow, it's probably in and out of your backyard, your house, your front yard in about 15, 20 minutes. It does rain a little bit behind it, but overall, it's not a massive line of thunderstorms. It is along a pretty significant cold front. I will turn up the sensitivity just a little bit, and I'll widen things out here so that we can kind of get a general feel for what we're looking at. And I'm going to turn off that warning just for a moment. Again, we do have that warning that's going on for parts of Rusk County, and that is going to be a little portion of Shelby County. Looks like it's also going to be in effect for let me go back over that again. Panola, Rusk, Shelby, and Harrison counties. So I'll turn that off. I'll put this in the radar into motion. And you can see generally, as the front moves through, and the front itself has now cleared Tyler, cleared Longview, Jefferson. Let me draw on here where we have the frontal boundary at this time, where it sits. The frontal boundary itself is roughly just east of Longview, just back to the west of Crockett, back to the west of Bryan. So that's the Arctic front that is plunging into the area this afternoon. Out ahead of that, we do have those stronger thunderstorms that have popped up. I'm going to skip ahead here if I can. I'm going to go ahead to the available potential energy we have in the atmosphere for these thunderstorms this afternoon. So really, our threat, if you think about it, it's going to be anywhere in this yellow. Right now, eastern Harrison County, all of Panola, Shelby County, southeastern parts of Rusk County. So city of Henderson, you're safe for the rest of the day. Jacksonville, if you're watching us, you're safe for the rest of the day from severe weather. Longview, safe. Gilmer, Tyler, it's all about cold air now for you guys. But you still have to keep an eye on some of these cells as they move southeastward. through Lufkin, Nacogdoches, Hemphill, San Augustine through about the next hour or so. I'll play this out, and you can see that by 2 o'clock it's gone. So our threat for severe weather, if we were going to have any, only going to last about another 2 hours. Right now, my biggest concern would be for any type of spin up is going to be this area that you see the stronger winds. In the yellow area, those winds would potentially, these are just off of the surface, so at about 5,000 feet. So about 65 mile an hour, very strong winds creating shear in the atmosphere or turning in the atmosphere from just east of Carthage down through center down to San Augustine. And what that also could do is if you can get anywhere of downward transfer of momentum, you could create a wind gust there of 65 miles an hour. That's right now. Watch how fast that disappears. So that's gone over the next hour, hour and a half. So this is a really limited, small, severe weather threat that we face here this afternoon. And it's in a really small, I mean, when you're talking about severe, like tornadic weather, it's a really small window that we have to deal with. And again, Tyler and Longview are out of it. And you can see these are rotation potential. So this shows you the potential that we could have one of these cells rotate that could prompt a tornado warning. And one does go across Nacogdoches County. There's another one across southeastern Harrison County that's involved in that current severe thunderstorm warning that we have right now. But when we put this into motion, you'll notice by 1 o'clock, except for over extreme deep East Texas down towards San Augustine and Hemphill, that threat is gone. So deep East Texas or deeper East Texas towards San Augustine, Hemphill, maybe up until about 3 o'clock, we'd still have a potential for a stronger or tornadic thunderstorm down there. But the rest of us, the threat is going to be diminishing pretty quickly here. And you can see the sky over Tyler already trying to pop back into some sunshine, but the temperature, wow, it's getting colder. And it's with the clash of air masses, Savannah, that's creating this today. I mean, we had 70 degrees this morning. You know, we're down into the 50s right now. It's a 20-degree temperature drop. We have had very few fronts like this, and certainly have not had an Arctic front like this until right now. And so I think that's why we're kind of concerned about some of these stronger thunderstorms. It still looks like we have the tornado potential in the cell as it moves to the east. But now it looks like the Boeing segment west of Shreveport would be my biggest concern, but it looks like that's starting to move into Louisiana too.
Just over into Louisiana almost. Right here is where he's talking about. Brett, can we zoom out real quick?
Yeah.
Just to, I liked when you put it in motion and showed kind of the past couple of hours, and you could see all the cells from down south that were streaming up into our area, and that's because we've had so much wind from the south bringing in all that humidity, and that's what does kind of increase that chance, and that's why we have some of that the most CAPE in deeper parts of East Texas, as he was showing, all that humidity, and you can see all these cells down here moving up through and all the moisture into deeper East Texas and off into Louisiana, and that's where the most potential for storms is, right along that line here. And that's what we're continuing to watch. Behind this, as you can see, dry, and we've lost all the energy. As this moves through, though, that's where the most of the energy is. So thought that was a good zoomed out picture. You could really see all those, all that moisture moving up into East Texas. But we can go back up to that Boeing segment you were talking about, just moved through Marshall and towards Shreveport now. So you can see just on the edge, if you know anybody that lives in this area, this is what Brett was talking about. Very, very thin line, but if you have anyone that lives in Crossroads, DeBerry, Greenwood, I know that's Louisiana, but just know this cell is headed towards them, and you can see some lightning bolts, a little bit stronger of a cell, maybe some gusty winds. Of course, if there's a Boeing segment, we always watch it for strong wind gusts right along that leading edge. But right now, just a really thin line of storms. Like Brett was mentioning, this is in and out very quick. Really don't get a whole lot of rain from this. It will maybe rain pretty heavy for just a few minutes, but it will continue to move through into Louisiana pretty soon. So Grand Bluff, you are right in it. Carthage, you're right about to get some of these lightning bolts. You can probably hear the rumbles of thunder. Again, still under that severe thunderstorm warning, and it does still have that tornado possible tag. That's what these black hatched lines are, and that goes until 12:15. So this is Brett circling an area here where we've got stronger wind gusts. You can see those bright greens and kind of that sharp edge here, that would indicate we've got some wind gusts that are moving out of this storm pretty quickly. And we could get some gusty winds in there, maybe up to 40, 50 mile per hour wind gusts. So Alasian Fields along that line probably got some gusty winds. Highway 79, if you know anybody driving that direction, know that they could be in some gusty winds. Again, DeBerry, you are getting some of those gusty winds as well. Brett, is this your circling maybe an area of rotation you're wanting to watch?
Yeah, the National Weather Service is also watching that area just northwest of DeBerry up toward Elysian Fields. So that we'll see if that tightens up.
Okay, yeah.
If that tightens up, then we've got potentially a quick spin-up tornado, which is pretty would be normal for this type of storm. As fast as the line is moving, you can have little embedded spin-ups, and so they'd spin up pretty quickly, and then they could even just like fall apart fairly quickly. But it would be one of those things. It's very, almost call it like a tropical type of setup, in that we don't have a ton of energy in the atmosphere, but we have a lot of wind shear in the atmosphere, and sometimes you can have really fast little spin-ups that last maybe 5 minutes. The winds on it are typically not strong tornadoes in that situation, but never say never, because sometimes these things can strengthen it just a little bit more, Savannah. So that still is involved in part of the severe thunderstorm warning until 12:15. So at least I'd like to stay on our stream and on our Facebook page and on CBS19 and our YouTube channel till about 12:15, make sure we clear all of this out.
Yeah, that latest scan that just came in, I don't know if that's any tighter and brighter. A little bit of red, a little bit of green there. Just as you were talking, that scan came through. So definitely keep us updated if you hear anything from the National Weather Service on that. That would be something to watch. Again, from something like this, what we're really looking for is these reds and greens that are really against each other. You can see there's not as much bright red here or bright green, but as we continue to watch our next couple of scans, the brighter it gets, the tighter it gets as well, is something we'll watch. So is this the same area that we were watching earlier, Brett, that was 6 miles?
Yeah.
Okay, so now down to 2, so could be tightening up some, and that's probably why the National Weather Service is, and there's a new scan.
And it looks like it's widened. It moved to the southeast and widened back out a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe just some gusty winds out of that, but definitely has widened out, not nearly as tight. You can see those areas are really more broad now, so that would be good. Still, you could get some strong wind gusts out of that, but maybe not any tight rotation in there that they're watching. But we'll keep updated on those comments for sure. That
Yes.
doesn't even look so.
Yeah, I was saying I don't see a lot of wind shear involved in that. It looks like this has primarily weakened a little bit, 25 miles an hour. There's a little more concerning feature up toward Bethany, where it's 34. So nothing super out of the ordinary with this, but yeah, it was worth watching there for a little bit, and it could again tighten back up. Sometimes these thunderstorms, go through cycles and they recycle, and then all of a sudden they're suddenly looking stronger. Let me look at the reflectivity off of this. I don't see a whole lot of like a reflectivity signature there. It just looks like, you might say right in here, there's a little bit of an inflow and there's some outflow or downdraft winds behind that. But I think we were talking about, Savannah, how the winds could be gustiest there, northwest of DeBerry, but that's certainly moving toward Highway 79 at this time.
Yeah, so that's good. That's good news for us that if you were, I was wondering, okay.
Yeah, I was just backing it up to see if it was trying to hook up there a little bit.
Okay.
It has a little potential, but meantime, they have canceled the severe thunderstorm warning that included a part of Harrison and Marion County, Texas. So that part of the warning is over for right now.
That was further up to the north tornado, severe thunderstorm watch.
Yeah.
Okay. So here we still have just our severe thunderstorm warning in this area, though. So DeBerry, you're still in this. Carthage as well, Grand Bluff, Beckville, even though you're on the back edge of this storm now, maybe still getting a little bit of rain. Pine Hill's on the back edge of this as well. Dotson headed your way, though, just about to get some of this. Laneville, you're going to get some cold air now. Lawsonville, Buncombe, all these areas, Mount Enterprise just in the middle of it. So probably hearing some rumbles of thunder, maybe seeing some bolts of lightning. Cold air is headed your way as the storm moves through. So you still have until 12:15 for this severe thunderstorm warning with this tornado possible tag, which is maybe the next 10 to 12 minutes that we'll continue to watch this. And I bet it could possibly get extended after this. Brett, what do you think about that? Have they said anything?
I could see they have not said anything yet, but you would think that the way the winds are right now in that storm, that they would easily, and the environment that it's moving into, that it would be, the severe thunderstorm warning would be extended, I say south and eastward into Shelby County, southeastern parts of Panola County, and maybe if they extended that line, it really is going to depend on how this little broken line of thunderstorms down here between just east of Alto toward Nacogdoches. That thunderstorm has been trying to get stronger north and west of Nacogdoches. It has more lightning bolts on it right now. So we might get a special weather statement out of that. In fact, I probably should check my radar to be, because we don't show special weather statements on this. Okay, no, we don't. We just have still that severe thunderstorm warning. They might put out a special weather statement, meaning that look for winds that are 40 miles an hour, 35 miles an hour. In Nacogdoches, there's some heavier rain. It's not lining up. It's not becoming part of a Boeing segment. It's just out there by itself, but it just doesn't look super strong right now. We don't have any Titan indicators on it. And again, as Savannah talked about, our Titan indicator, what it does, it kind of gives us a heads up as to look at a storm. Doesn't mean that exactly what is happening inside that storm is what the Titan indicator says, but it has some parameters to it. So if it notices that there's stronger updraft winds, or that the hail core is increasing inside a severe thunderstorm, or the downdraft winds are increasing, it gives us a little heads up to look at that. Sometimes if there's a little bit of circulation, like we saw on that cell northwest of DeBary, that popped up a little very low end TVS or tornadic vortex signature icon for us, and so that told Savannah and I, hey, look at this cell, and we did, and you could see it was trying to tighten up just a little bit, and then it sort of loosened up on that next scan. So right now that severe thunderstorm warning continues for those counties included in Rusk County, Panola County, and eastern Harrison County, and that northwestern corner of Shelby County until 12:15. But I'm going to say I think we'll end up getting a severe thunderstorm warning probably eastern parts of Panola, Shelby County, and then we'll keep an eye on the rest of the cells back to the southwest. The area down toward Groveton, I mean, we'll see what happens with these thunderstorms over by Jasper. Were they enough to maybe pop the energy bubble in the atmosphere? If that's the case, then maybe they'll move into an environment that's not as strong as what was earlier setting up, and so it might lessen the severe threat in parts of deep East Texas. All along, I think Savannah and I both thought the best threat of severe weather today would end up being over Shelby County, maybe southeastern Nacogdoches County, San Augustine, and Sabine County as those storms moved into that area. So that seemed to be where there was all of the energy. But right now, it is not. It is sort of an untapped potential, so there is still time for the thunderstorms to develop. I'm going to go down. Sometimes it's tough to talk and walk at the same time. So we have the tornado watch that goes until 6 o'clock. I like to look at the watch box area because you may have noticed there's this little sliver of Gregg County in that watch box. And so when the product comes out, it may list Gregg County in the tornado watch. But when you look at how much of Gregg County is in that tornado watch, it's barely anything, and it doesn't include the city of Henderson. And right now, Henderson, you're in the clear. Nacogdoches, you're not necessarily in the clear yet. But Jefferson, you're in the clear. I have a feeling here in the next hour, Savannah, we may see a lot of these western counties just dropped as this line moves farther and farther to the east and to the southeast.
Oh yeah, I definitely think so too. As this continues to move, there's no potential for a tornado warning or tornado watch behind this line. So here is that cell that Brett was talking about. New severe thunderstorm warning. Most of this is, or all of this is Louisiana, isn't it?
Let me put I'm going to switch the mode on this, on the warning, so that it'll list the counties that are in this.
I'm pretty sure that this is all
of. It looks like most of it is Louisiana.
Yes.
And it might be to where it's moving into the better environment over there.
Uh-huh.
So what is that? Bossier and Caddo Parish.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so we just missed that severe thunderstorm warning, but that is the cell that Brett was talking about earlier with that Boeing segment. So they must be seeing some stronger wind gusts in there, some maybe potential for small hail, and that's maybe what our Titan indicator was maybe indicating, that it was getting a little bit stronger. But yes, that severe thunderstorm warning still has the tornado possible tag on it as it moves into Louisiana. So let's see. Widened view.
Yeah, I just wanted to widen. They were just talking that now this is what you'd be looking for if you were going to get a tornado warning. See how bright that red and that green is? So we're not seeing anything like that on the Texas side right now. Yeah, Savannah's pointing that out for you. So they did issue, and this is in Louisiana, Jackson and Ouachita Parish right now under a tornado warning.
Yes, so this is, again, not in our area, but just showing you that that's what we would be looking for if there was a tornado warning or some sort of signature that me and Brett were really watching. Here, though, this is kind of the brightest green we have, and that's just maybe, again, from some winds headed out of that storm, but nothing that they've really noted very gusty. Sometimes we get reports in from the National Weather Service or trained spotters out that kind of report what's going on from this line of storms or any line of storms, and we haven't really, I don't think, gotten any reports of anything, have we, Brett?
No, I haven't seen any yet.
Yeah, so not a very, I guess, impressive line, at least where we've been seeing. We've maybe just had that severe thunderstorm warning, but you can see kind of, I feel like, breaking apart, so we're not really watching a strong edge here of anything. But this has been, again, kind of all the action up north of where kind of all that potential is, really down south. So still under that tornado watch, again, as Brett was saying, as this line continues to move, we think that these back counties will continue to get dropped because this tornado watch does go until 6 p.m. and we're definitely not going to need it after this line moves through. So this severe thunderstorm warning goes for just about another 5 minutes. They've extended it off of this line. I don't know about this, Brett.
Which one?
They've extended it off of this cell, but do you think, you did say that you...
I thought so.
Yeah.
It doesn't look real sharp. It looks pretty raggedy on the southeastern edge, so it may... We've been sampling the winds in there, 35, 40 miles an hour, so it hasn't been real strong. So, yeah, it may get a special weather statement out of that, and we'll see. I mean, if there are some surface reports, but we've had no surface reports from any spotters in the field saying there's been anything too terribly strong out of any of those winds that have been moving through there.
Yeah. Could you go down? Can we look at that cell in the Groveton area down towards south? So we've got this Nacogdoches cell and this Groveton cell as well. Looked like it was kind of getting a little bit stronger, a little bit more lightning there, and our Titan indicator as well, maybe showing that it was strengthening up. Let's see, maybe a small probability of hail. I don't think that the wind impact was super high on that. I wasn't sure.
Yeah, let me do it again. I moved it.
Sometimes they're a bit finicky.
Yeah, and I'll move this over so that we can see the cell and then the...
Yeah. Wind impact about 6.2, so decent. Maybe some hail in there as well, but as it continues to strengthen up, lightning would also show that maybe it's strengthening, and our updrafts here could be getting a little bit stronger. But again, this is kind of that area that we were talking about that has more potential for some of these storms, and it is still moving about the same speed, 35 to 40 miles per hour. Probability of hail going up a little bit, so we'll continue to watch that. Brett's going to put a tracker on this cell so we can see the direction it's moving. If you're in Hudson, just the next couple of minutes, about 12:16. Lufkin, 12:25. Dunnigan, I think that's 12:41. Huntington, just before 1 o'clock. Corrigan at about 1:08, and then Denning at 1:18. So that's for this cell that's down near Groveton. If you're in Groveton, this is right on your doorstep, already probably seeing some lightning, maybe some gusty winds. If you're in Groveton and you're watching us, we'd love to hear what's going on. But this is one of those cells. Was that a new scan, Brett, that just came through? It doesn't look as strong, I feel like, as it just did. I don't know.
Yeah, no, it was a new scan, and you can see the Titan indicator switched to the southwest of Groveton instead of sitting there to the northeast of it. There's another new scan. It looks like there's a little. It's trying to bow a little bit. Let's look at that on the velocity. And
yeah.
And that doesn't look too bad. Again, remember where we are. We're looking at this data from pretty far away, so. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything great.
Yeah.
And that's going to be likely the Houston National Weather Service office that's looking at there. Let me go back to a different velocity scan and see.
That one looks, I mean, maybe some brighter greens, but
This one's coming out of Shreveport, so you can see the little purple line there between Lufkin and Groveton. That's called range folding. So basically the radar signal is starting to bend back toward the ground, so it's really having a hard time seeing what's up inside there. But there haven't been any mentions yet. Let me look at Houston, see what they're saying.
I would just think that maybe as some of these cells moved into that area that haven't had as many storms, they could be some of the ones to strengthen up.
Oh, absolutely. That needs to be what there's. Okay, Houston. When did this get issued? This was 10/29. This was earlier. I'm switching back and forth between Weather Service offices in Houston and Shreveport, looking for any kind of updates on a storm down there, but they're not even really concerned about that cell down to the south.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to widen it back out and go back to our reflectivity. I think we'll see if they've dropped the severe thunderstorm.
Yeah, we should have just
warning
about
up there.
30 more seconds on this if they continue it or drop it.
Let me go to the tornado watch. I have to keep turning that off. That's okay. That just shows you that we do have a tornado watch, and there is that tornado warning over in Jackson and Ouachita parishes in Louisiana. That area of Louisiana I thought looked more ripe for tornadic development. Okay, so it went away. So we do not have any more severe thunderstorm warnings in East Texas.
All right.
So what do you say we take a break, and we'll watch radar and we'll see what happens in terms of. All right, so right now we still have the tornado watch that's in effect until 6 o'clock. We'll put that back in there. It still does include parts of Marion County, does include parts of Harrison County, Rusk County, but probably going to be cleared out of that pretty soon. And then Panola, Shelby County, Nacogdoches County, Angelina, San Augustine, and Sabine counties will likely stay in the watch. It goes until 6 o'clock tonight, so it's still got about 6 hours to go with this. So anyway, we'll take a break from our stream if we have to break back into programming. Unfortunately, we have got NFL football on today, so we're hoping we don't get a tornado warning that we would have to do that. There are a lot of important games, I think, happening across the NFL. So we appreciate your taking your time out of your Sunday morning, early afternoon, spending time with Savannah, Hale, and myself. For Savannah, I'm CBS 19 Chief Meteorologist Brett Anthony. Have a great Sunday afternoon.